Hello, my name is Emma. So, there's not a lot I can say about the most famous paintings of all time that hasn't already been said in every which way you can think. For this intro, I felt a bit silly going into the impact these different works had on the world when it's so prevalent in our pop culture and history. What is even left to say? The Mona Lisa can be referenced and parodied almost everywhere, and we don't bat an eye at it. I think people usually associate these works with school in some way because, at the end of the day, they are history. But I'd argue artwork like this really lives on through its reference in different forms of media majority of the time. In some instances, the art piece becomes forever tied to a movie or show because it made a profound impact on a character. Maybe it's a throwaway line about being like Picasso or
Da Vinci?
And can't forget the 2018 art kid movement that made us think that printing the Starry Night on every surface was the most aesthetic thing on this planet, but I digress. I think that the famous arts really shake hands with different forms of media today, and even newly developed art forms like cartoons. And that really got me thinking, what if there was a cartoon about famous paintings? Not in an educational way, no, but in a Clone High Daria kind of way. How fun would that concept be? The possibilities are endless. I had to do it. In this video, I will be taking these paintings and attempting to create some character designs inspired by them. This will be challenging, but I'm ready to give it a go, so grab your iPad or sketchbook or whatever you draw on, and let's get cooking. Arguably one of the most well-known paintings in the world. I did some research and this painting has the highest known insurance valuation in history at 100 million in 1962. With inflation, that is the equivalent to $1 billion. Guys, I'm stealing the Mona Lisa. That was a joke. My biggest inspiration for these designs, as I said, are cartoons like Daria, 16, and Clone High, along with many others. I also have to shout out Brujo Celta, who I'd say is mostly responsible for the popularization of this kind of art style recently. Now, accuracy was not my goal with these characters. My main goal was to have them be recognizable to the painting without it having to be a one-for-one replication. I'm sure you can see now that they are all going to be aged down unless, you know, I make older characters in the future. I think I want the story to start in high school and maybe move to college or whatever. I'm not sure yet. I always saw the Mona Lisa as a stoic, calm figure with a little sense of humor. And for this character, I tried to capture that vibe as much as I could. The woman who was painted's actual name was Lisa del... I'm not gonna try to say that. Sorry. Mona is actually a similar word to ma'am in Italian, but I think it would be really cute as a name for her. There's not a lot known about the real woman other than specific marriage dates and how many children she had, nothing expressing how she acted or her personality, so I just went off what I thought was best. I wanted to go for an earthy vibe for her. Not quite hippie, kind of elementary school art teacher. I gave her some piercings, which I've realized I don't do a whole lot of, so that was fun. I just thought it fit her vibe. And I know the original painting does not have eyebrows, but I could not have eyebrows. Eyebrows are very important to me. I like the no brow look, but for characters, I feel like there's something missing every time I don't have eyebrows. At first glance, it looks like Lisa has straight hair. I think it's because of the veil, but if you look closer, it's actually fairly curly. So I tried to do an in-between of that since the average person probably hasn't looked that closely at this painting. Having her hair this curly might make it less recognizable as the Mona Lisa. As I was drawing this, I started to go, wow, she is so also 90s wise cafe core, and I think that fits her really well. The Mona Lisa was stolen in the 1900s by an Italian man who thought the painting belonged in Italy, and that was partially the reason it became so popular. I think it would be kind of funny to sprinkle in some art lore. Pause. No, art history references, but I'm definitely not relying on it. These characters are also just gonna be their own thing, gonna be random. I also discovered that there was a Mona Lisa replication painting that was made around the same time as the original. It's thought to have been created by one of Da Vinci's pupils and has evidence of changes being made at the same time Da Vinci made them. The painting is similar, but also very different, and this got me thinking. It would be so interesting for Mona to have a twin sister, like one that's estranged and goes to another school or something. Maybe the others didn't even know she had a sister at all, and she's the complete opposite of Mona's personality. I kind of love that. So Mona is one half of the main character role for this concept, and I'll go more into how she acts and her traits as we go over the next character. And no, it's not her twin sister. Here's Mona. This is one of my most favorite drawings I've made recently. I don't know if someone would be able to look at her and see the Mona Lisa, but I think she turned out very nice. In my mind, and maybe this is reality, this is the second most known portrait of a woman that isn't a highly documented historical figure. Like the Mona Lisa, she has popped up many times before in reference and parody, though unlike the Mona Lisa, the woman depicted is either unknown or completely fictional from the artist. The girl with the pearl earring is dated at 1665, much later than the Mona Lisa, so I think it would be cute if Pearl was a little younger than Mona. I'm going to name her Pearl, as I said. I think it's fitting and a really nice name, though it does remind me of the movie a little bit. Please, I'm a star! I wanted her clothing to contrast Mona, so they are more visual opposites. So she's much more simple and sleek than Mona's attire, also more feminine. I'm not sure why, but I see her as kind of energetic and peppy. The painting doesn't reflect that, but there is a bit of playfulness I see coming from her. I posted a little sneak peek for this video, and some people compared her to Lindsay from Total Drama Island, and I see it. It wasn't intentional, but it might have been a little subconscious on my part since I was looking to similar references. I know I presented this as a hypothetical show, but I really see this as a great comic idea, something that is pretty simple but effective, and the comic's name will be Mona and Pearl. I'm proud of myself for this one because most of my stories never have names. Pearl and Mona are best friends who live within a gallery of a museum. I'd imagine they visit famous painted settings. It's not a Toy Story Night at the Museum kind of vibe, but it's a little more up in the air than that. Like, they don't know they are artwork, but the audience knows. That's not the focus at all, by the way. The characters are not going to have an existential crisis about being a painting on display. You know, I kind of want to subvert expectations with these characters. Like, I want Pearl to be really academic and driven, but maybe to her detriment. And I want Mona to not be so smart academically, but excel in other things like art or agriculture. And Mona is far too proud to cheat off of Pearl. She'd much rather take the F. Though these two are some of the most popular paintings ever, they are not very popular in school and kind of fall to the wayside, but they don't mind at all. I changed the headscarf to be a blonde ponytail instead of a scarf. I just thought it fit better, and I emphasized the earrings much more than the original. It's a very important aspect of her character. Plus, I thought a string of pearls wouldn't hurt either. Kind of ties it together, you know? Pearl! Again, one of my favorites. I had so much fun designing her. Yeah, moving on. Oh, Picasso. I really don't want to get into this man's shit, but let's just say he wasn't the best. Picasso's work is mostly associated with a style rather than a specific painting, at least from what I've noticed. Though what he's most known for doesn't even scratch the surface of his artwork. Bro really went through his period accurate anime phase. Anyway. A specific painting I landed on was a portrait of Dora Maar, which depicts a fellow artist and one of, I think, Picasso's lovers. Most of Picasso's painting subjects were his lovers and were his muse. I don't really want this to be a representation of this woman at all, just a separate character, so I took Dora's last name and changed it to name this character Mara. I thought this design would be a big challenge, but once I started it, it just clicked for me. I don't know. Picasso's style is very jumbled, if that makes sense. The limbs on this painting don't exactly read the closer you look at it. Unfortunately, this makes it extremely easy for AI to replicate, and I got fooled a couple times. Very, very annoying. In my mind, this character needed to be clean and clear for it to make sense, so I went for a more cubist approach. Also, I know there's going to be Enna comparisons, it's inevitable, but do know I tried to avoid it looking too similar. Her outfit is almost a direct copy from the painting, but I think it works. Picasso mostly used shapes to loosely convey something, so I didn't want to do something overly rendered. She's definitely one of those characters that can only flip her side profile back and forth. You're never seeing that front view. Mara is a very direct person and has a bit of a superiority complex. She bullies Mona and Pearl a lot, but they bite back. Don't think they don't. Her and Pearl are academic rivals and are very competitive, so default Mona doesn't like her either. Pearl hates Mara, but she won't leave her head. Sometimes she talks about her non-stop. Girl, do you have something you want to say? Mara is a part of the modern art crowd, which are very popular. She's definitely BFFs with some colorful organic shapes. Sorry. Modern art is cool, ignore me. I really want to try and limit one character per artist so it doesn't get too convoluted, you know? So there's no more Picasso. She just represents the essence of his work entirely. It girl, it girl. She definitely walks through the halls as everyone stares at her. That's her whole thing. On to the boys. Picking out the paintings were hard because I wanted to bring in male and female portraits, but there are way more recognizable women paintings than there are male. And I'm talking paintings that show people who are only known as an art piece, not notable historical figures. So I hope to do even more with this, but for now, please accept what I have. Son of Man is a painting done by Reen Magaret. I'm probably not saying that right. This painting was one I thought was done by Salvador Dali. Yeah, I feel incredibly stupid, but I will say their styles seem very similar to me, so cut me some slack. They're both surrealist. I chose this painting because I thought it'd be a perfect excuse to make an object head. Come on, I mean, this is perfect material. I can't pass it up. This painting genuinely spooked me a bit because I didn't realize you could see the man's face a bit behind the apple. When I zoomed in, I saw his eye and I got a little scared. I went for a floating apple head and took inspiration from other surrealist works for the rest of his design, trying to embody the feel of some of these paintings. For this character's name, I took inspiration from the title of the painting, kind of. I just took the last word, man, and thought, man equal guy, so his name will be Guy. Guy is a stereotypical nerd. Gotta have your nerd, right?
You don't like children?
Ugh, boo. You know how I feel about overblown and unrealistic nerd stereotypes.
Hey, Becky, check out my pet bumblebee. Buzz, buzz.
I'm playing with the idea of him being nonverbal, but I'm not sure yet. Let me know what you guys think. Guy is very shy and usually keeps to himself. He's the observer type, you know? So technically he's modern art, but he doesn't roll with that crowd really. He's just a guy. He's a guy. Crying Girl was a piece done by Roy Lichtenstein, though it actually originates from a comic book series called Secret Hearts. This man bought the lithograph and reconfigured it to make it an art piece. Now, there has been some controversy with this artist because a lot of people call his work plagiarism since he's directly taking artwork from something else to make his own. If you look at it compared to the actual comics, they are pretty different, though it's clear that it was pretty much traced from the original. I think people's biggest problem with this is that he made so much money off of this artwork.
I just thought it was interesting to mention. Anyway,
in my opinion, this is the most pop art you can get. So it felt like a good jumping off point, though this character is very different from its source. I changed the gender and made him emo. Well, okay, he started off emo, then ended more scene, so yeah. I went for that look because the woman is sad, so sad equal emo, and you get it. I know it's random, bear with me. This one gave me trouble. I did have to redraw him again because I really hated how the first one came out, but I can say the second one isn't as bad. It just doesn't fit very well with the rest of the group for some reason. Something needs to be flip-flopped, but he's good for now. This character's name will be Liam because I could not come up with a clever name, and all I did was look up boy names and pick the first thing that came up. Can somebody give me the Creator of the Year award because I think I deserve it. He's gonna be a cool dude, but a cool dude with a sensitive side. Writing poetry under trees and crying to chick flicks because he's not like the other boys. Mona adores him. She has the biggest crush on him, but has never spoken to Liam in her life. Pearl makes fun of her because he's like a head shorter than Mona, and Pearl greatly disapproves, mostly because he's in the same friend group with Mara. I think Liam gets a lot of attention from a lot of admirers in the school just because of his vibe, you know? And he plays it off, but he loves it. Here he is, little poetic scene boy. I saved this painting for last because it is one of my favorites. There's just so much emotion portrayed through this figure's eyes. This painting is called The Fallen Angel, and it depicts the devil after his fall from heaven. I've mostly seen this painting cropped in with just the face being shown. I didn't know that this was supposed to be Lucifer at all until I looked into it. After I found that out, I couldn't see him being anything else but a loser edgelord who's trying to be devious but always looks goofy doing it. Anyone else feel that way? I think he'd be a very big loner by choice.
Live alone, die alone. Yeah.
I struggled a lot picking clothing for him since, you know, he's naked in the original. There's not a whole lot to go off of, unfortunately. And I was beginning to get worried that he just wasn't going to look like this painting in the slightest, just some guy. I just hope that with the context of the others, it will make sense. You guys can let me know. I desperately wanted to give him a graphic tee with some stupid saying on it. I unfortunately couldn't make it work. I just thought it would fit his character so much. I made a character kind of similar to this a little bit ago. Oh god, they even have the same hair color. But he's like 100% worse than Lucifer. Rewind. He's like 100% worse than fictional Lucifer. And not gonna lie, I want to explore a character like this more in a more, I don't want to say positive, but a more redeemable way. I went back and forth whether or not I wanted to give him wings. I settled for these tiny floating wings, as I thought big old ones would be pretty distracting and take away from his overall vibe. He's not really supposed to be like an angel, he's supposed to be just a dude. No one in school likes Lucifer at all, but he's cunning and can often manipulate others into getting what he wants. He's got it in his head that everyone fears him, but they actually just find him really annoying. Now, he's actually not the devil, as I said, more of a representation of him, similar to the painting I'm referencing. I like the idea of Lucifer having some kind of powers for a minute, but I think that's getting a little too complex for what I'm going for. Wouldn't it be so cool for him to be like a chaotic character like Discord or something? Let me ponder that. Yeah, I don't know yet. I always make things so much in my stories. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy all my characters, but I want to try out a more simpler route instead of always building on top of everything I do. Lucifer! He would be so proud of his name. Weirdo. This is the last art piece of this video, and I wanted to put all my character designs back into their original paintings as I thought it would be a very interesting visual. I wanted to create this gallery wall with all of them to make this mock comic / show cover. It's not the greatest, but I'm not the best with fonts, so forgive me. I think it shows what I was going for. I have so many ideas for this concept, and as I said, the character possibilities are endless. I think next time I really want to do a statue. Oh, that would be so cool. Don't be surprised if you start seeing these guys more because I'm a little obsessed. There's a very big chance of me doing part 2 of this challenge, so please comment what paintings you'd like to see, and I will probably pick them. It's good to see others' perspectives on what you think is a popular painting because there's so many paintings, and when you're in the art world, it's a little harder to see when something is more niche than you thought it was initially. And hey, background characters are always needed. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did. I learned a lot about these paintings. I'm not a big art history person. I know paintings, but I don't really know all the facts and little tidbits about them, so this was a very interesting video to go through. My friend said this reminded her of a school project she did, and that's exactly how it felt doing this challenge. I felt like I was in art class again. Weird, but fun. I want to thank you all for 85k subscribers. We are getting so close to 100k, and I can't believe it at all. It's been such a wonderful experience, and you all have really helped me keep going. I'm so appreciative of every single one of you. Thank you so much. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and as always, peace.